Hey folks, it's Gabe at Security.org, and today I want to talk about the Logitech Circle View Video Doorbell. Now, we've messed around with some Logitech products before, but this is different. This is doing something with Apple and really just Apple. So today I'm going to go over what my experience is like with this device. And if you stay tuned, hopefully you'll get all the information you need regarding making the decision for you and your family, keeping you safe, letting you know when you get your packages. So let's go ahead and dive in. First thing we have to say right off the bat with this device is that this device is made for Apple, and that's it. If you're an Android person, if you want to be doing this, that, and the third with Google or Amazon smart assistants, this is not for you. This is for someone who wants the Apple aesthetic. I mean, look, today I'm even using my MacBook Air, M1 MacBook Air. Clearly, I like Apple products, but if you don't, then you could probably just go do something else. But if you have an iPhone or an iPad, MacBook Air, Apple TV to watch cartoons or whatever, then you might decide this is the doorbell for you. So let's go ahead and dive into what that means. Well, right off the bat, you're gonna open it up, take it out, and when you install it, it has a little bit of a different installation process. With this device, instead of installing through a direct connection, you're actually going to install it into the mounting plates themselves, which is kind of a nice little thing I liked about setting this up. You'll put it into the mounting plates and boom, pretty straightforward, you're ready to go. Probably compatible with your house, and honestly, Logitech asks you before you even buy this device whether or not it's going to be compatible with your home. So now let's say it's compatible with your home, you've got it installed and you're setting it up. What are you looking at? Well, you're looking at a really sleek, I may say kind of beautiful device. It is made primarily out of glass. So I want to point that out, that you do need to be careful. It can shatter. Yes, I had to buy 2 of these. Logitech did not send this in. I had to buy 2 separate Logitech doorbells because I dropped it. I'll be honest with you, I dropped it, I shattered it. That being said, otherwise, pretty straightforward process. They give you everything you need to set it up inside the box. They even give you some different angles in terms of mounting and installation. And what was cool is that once I had this set up, all I have to do is scan inside of the Apple Home mobile application, this QR code, and that is what installed it with the rest of my system. So what's distinct about this device and other ones is that you're not going to download the Logitech app, which I'm used to doing for Logitech's cameras and things of that nature that we've seen before. No, you're going to do this directly with your iPhone, that Apple HomeKit setup, basically. Everything goes through that. Now, before we dive more into what the experience is like with the Logitech Video Doorbell, let's just talk about the technical elements of it. And most importantly, what's that vision like? Well, with the Logitech Video Doorbell, you'll note that it looks really good. I mean, it actually captures things really crisply, really clearly. On top of that, it has a 160-degree field of view. Now, I'll be honest, we've been seeing some 180-degree field of view, but 160 is pretty great. You're gonna capture most of what's happening in front of you. But what's interesting about this device is that you can be 2 feet away and you're still gonna get a head-to-toe view. Basically, you can think of it as more Instagram than YouTube because it's really focused on getting that entire length of a person. So, if someone has something at their feet, you're gonna be able to capture what it is. And I really appreciate that. I really like that 3:4 formatting. So Instagram versus YouTube looks great, looks good. And with your night vision, it's interesting. It actually uses a light, so it's not infrared actually. We're pretty familiar with infrared LEDs, but with this device, you're gonna note it just puts on a night light, and that kind of illuminates the space and allows you to see what's going on. And it does have pretty solid perspective, even from 10, 15 feet away. Now, the main thing we have to talk about when discussing the Logitech Circle View Video Doorbell is that this is for the Apple enthusiast. It's for the person who has been interested or had their interest piqued in the Apple HomeKit Secure video. Now, this allows for things like facial recognition to be involved, intelligent detection inside of custom activity zones. It allows for 10 days of event footage. So this is a little bit distinct from what you'll get, for example, from something like the Nest Video Doorbell, where you can actually see every single thing that's taking place in front of your home. This is actually going to take the form of capturing every event and keeping that for 10 days. Now, what's interesting is because this is through Apple, there's kind of a somewhat confusing manner by which it sets up with your iCloud. So basically, if you have enough iCloud storage with your iCloud account and your Apple account, then it doesn't add anything extra to your storage. You just have to be paying for that much. As long as you're paying for that much, then you're good, and they're gonna give you that 10 days of footage. So it means anytime someone rang the doorbell, anytime motion was detected, you're gonna be able to see that inside of your iPhone or your MacBook or any other device. But if you don't have that iCloud storage plan, then you're only gonna be able to live stream. So it's very confusing in that sense, ultimately a little bit more confusing than it needs to be. This could have been a little bit easier for us to kind of figure out from the get-go. Additionally, you do need to have a device like a HomePod or an Apple TV in order for this to function, because basically the security elements of Apple HomeKit means that they're not sending this off to someone else. It means that you get something happening in front of your home, and it's going to edit all that, keep everything in-house, and keep you safe in that sense. So that means there's another device, and it has to be a HomePod or an Apple TV, that does all of that work for the system. Now, I know that's a little bit more complicated than necessary, but it does mean that on top of buying the Logitech Circle View Video Doorbell, you're also going to be buying something like an Apple TV or something like a HomePod if you don't already have them. In my case, of course, I have the Apple TV, I have the HomePod, I have two of both of those actually. So that's something that you want to keep in mind when it comes to the Logitech Circle View Video Doorbell. Maybe the most salient element of setting this up is knowing that you need those parts. Now, it makes you safe using Apple HomeKit Secure Video, but what about the rest of the Apple Home mobile app when you're using your Logitech Circle View Video Doorbell? Well, I would say it's kind of a mixed experience. If I jump in, I can go directly into a live shot, see what's happening outside. You can see I have tons of cables and things of that nature. But if I go into our settings and look at what's happening, you'll note that as compared to other elements or other video doorbells on the market, it is not as comprehensive. So I can, put it in a room, add different automations. That's something that's cool, something I'm gonna, definitely play around with more as Apple keeps releasing more accessories that work with one another. But if I go to my notifications, you'll know, okay, I can turn my HomePod as a chime because, if you don't have it set up with your existing system or you want something different, you might just want it to chime where you are. And in my case, I did have mine on as in terms of my kitchen HomePod, so I can hear it when I'm in the kitchen. That's basically most of my downstairs, and the upstairs HomePod. And that allows me basically to hear it no matter where I am. Even if I'm in, the basement, I will pretty much be able to hear it with just those two HomePods. But I live in New York, things are kind of on the smaller side. Now, what's great is you can also decide if you want to have the snapshots, notifications, and so you'll get an idea of what's actually happening anytime you get an alert. So that's great. It's not just, oh, here's an alert. It's like, oh no, here's what's happening. There's a UPS person. That's the alert. I appreciate that. And let's go ahead and go back and see some of these other elements like the recording options. Now you want it to be, for example, whenever you're home, it not only streams what's happening, but it also is going to allow for recording, do the same thing from when you're away, or you can just have it so that it's not doing any of those things when you're at home and you're going to hear it and you can be able to go answer. So that's just, if you just want to have fewer events in your timeline. Now you can also even delve a little bit further into that in terms of having it be for specific types of motion or any type of motion. So you can have it just be for when people are detected, when animals are detected, or when vehicles are detected. You can decide if you want to record audio or not. So I'm not saying that there is not a certain degree of like customization available with this device. It just maybe isn't on the same level as some of the other devices out there. So 2 years ago, this is basically top of the line. You're gonna get basically anything else you'd be able to get from any system, any video doorbell 2 years ago. And frankly, for me, that is more than enough but I'm not going to state that it's the most modern beyond what is providing you with Apple HomeKit Secure Video. Another thing you can do is, of course, use the facial recognition technology. So if I'm here, I can decide who I want to add to my home, people that are basically around. And then it also states that people with a face mask don't show up with this list, which I guess is a little bit useful these days, you know, when you have plumbers and things of that nature coming through, and you're clearly not going to add those to your home. Now, I turned off the night vision light just to kind of get an idea of what was happening without that night, because, you know, this is not an infrared device, and, you know, you really just can't see nearly as well as one can when you have this night vision light actually turned on. And finally, you have the ability to set up these activity zones where you can actually decide, okay, this is where I want to be able to capture things or not. You can see me set up a zone here, and it's pretty useful. I can add this zone. That's not really a zone I'd ever want to have, but something like this. So now I'm going to capture everything taking place, and this is my activity zone. So I'm only going to be notified of things taking place in this arena. So again, you're definitely getting some elements. You're definitely able to use this device pretty well, but I don't want us to pretend as if you're going to get the same level from some of the more advanced video doorbells out in the market, those that come with their own mobile applications. Personally, I love having everything in-house in terms of I have my Apple TV or HomePod, and I have my iPhone, and that's it with my doorbell or with other devices, as we've seen from the things that have been coming out steadily in the past year with Apple's HomeKit and security, and, you know, Apple Siri and those things working together. But it's definitely not at the level of some of its competitors when it comes to the mobile app and what all you're going to get. So now I want to go ahead and tell you one fun thing I liked about the experience is that, you know, it does feel, even though it's not an Apple device, it does kind of give you that Apple feeling. I mean, it's made out of glass. It has great speakers. It sounds really good in terms of the two-way audio. It has the ability to give you that nice Instagram look. I mean, it's just like extending that entire iPhone sleek, chic feeling to your video doorbell. And frankly, it's not something that everyone cares about having that experience with. You don't necessarily want it to be like the coolest thing in your house, your video doorbell, but it can be. It's nice. I enjoy the experience. The installation with the mounting plate, the quick installation with the QR code with the Logitech Circle View video doorbell, all of that makes for a very Apple intuitive experience. But if that's not what you're looking for, then the Logitech video doorbell is definitely too spendy a video doorbell to buy. I mean, it's just, there's other things in the market that are going to give you comparable, if not better features, and they're, you know, not going to cost the same amount, and you're going to have a little bit more versatility. But for someone like me, who is just as quick to buy something from Google and Apple and just kind of like fall in love with the ecosystem, then yeah, the Logitech video doorbell is great. It works really well for me to see what's happening outside, for me to know what's going on, and for me to have a 10-day timeline of every single thing that's taking place. And that really feels good. And it does feel good to also know I'm really upping the security experience with Apple HomeKit Secure Video. All right, so I hope today's look at the Logitech Circle View video doorbell was useful for those of you who maybe have not had firsthand experience with a glass video doorbell, an Apple Enthusiast doorbell. Any questions you have regarding Apple HomeKit Secure Video, my installation process, or even, just what it's like to have a glass video doorbell and have it shatter into a million pieces, please drop those questions below. And, I kind of love to get an idea from my followers. Let me know, are you the kind of person who wants that all-in-one ecosystem, or are you keen on kind of mixing things up? Please drop it down below. My name is Gabe. This is Security.org. Be secure.